2020 has been a very crazy year. Everything from Kobe to, all of the other celebrity deaths that have happened to, obviously the pandemic, the quarantine, the explosion, everything that's happened this year has basically helped paint a perception of 2020 being a terrible year. A lot of people have agreed on that idea. People have come to a consensus that 2020 has been trash. Here's my thing. I feel like the reason why a lot of people feel this way is because they consume a lot of news, whether that be from watching the news or from, spending a lot of time on social media and staying up to date with current events. They see all of this negativity going on and they believe that 2020 has been a terrible year. And, if you just watch the news and you just follow the headlines, like, yeah, 2020 has been a terrible year. But for me personally, 2020 might be the best year of my life so far. And obviously, my YouTube success has a lot to do with that, but it's more so from the personal growth, from the trials and tribulations of this year. Everything from having my heart broken for the first time to, quitting my job and going full-time on YouTube. Like, everything that I've done this year and everything that's happened to me has shaped me into what I consider to be the best version of myself thus far. And obviously I'm still growing each and every day so that I can share a better version of myself with you guys with every video that I drop. But I think a big part of the reason why 2020 has been so great to me is because I haven't really kept up with the news, with everything going on, especially COVID. COVID has been like the big thing this year. I haven't been keeping up with any of that. I know that it's happening. I'm not gonna lie, at first, when, COVID first kind of started to emerge, I was a complete non-believer. I'm gonna just keep it real with y'all. I didn't believe that it was real. I thought that they were just, trying to scare people, which I still do, and I'll get into that later in the video. But, once I started to see people around me, like in my general area, get it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is real. This is real. But even through all that, even once I determined that it was indeed a real, actual problem, I still decided to not keep up with the news. And it was hard. It's hard to avoid hearing news on COVID because it's everywhere. The news is hard to avoid, especially when you're on social media. But for me personally, I was off social media for about 2 months. And I haven't watched the news in probably 10 years. I don't watch the news, which is the main point of this video, me explaining why I don't watch the news. So let me start off by saying this. A lot of people watch the news because they want to be informed. Okay, they want to be informed. And logically, it makes sense that people would want to watch the news to stay informed, because how else are you going to stay up to date with current events happening around the world? Now, here is where I feel like a lot of people have their logic a little bit twisted. Okay, and I'm not saying that I'm better from not watching the news, but here's my perspective. That's all I'm trying to do, is share my perspective. But I feel like people take these news stations at their word. They don't question what they hear. You don't necessarily know what's actually going on in the world. You only know what they're telling you. For example, when it comes to the pandemic, it's basically almost impossible to avoid news on that, because, you go on YouTube, it's there. You go on Twitter, Instagram, any social media or media spot, you'll see more news about, the pandemic and what's going on with that. And you'll see statistics. A lot of times you'll see the death toll is rising and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that it isn't rising, but what I am saying is you have no way of truly knowing that. You only know what they're telling you, okay? You only know what they're telling you. And you have to keep in mind that they are trying to make money. At the end of the day, they are trying to make as much money as they can. So how do they do that? They keep you guys fearful. They keep you in a low vibrational state, because they know that when you're scared, you're going to keep coming back, because you're waiting for that one little piece of good news to bring you back up again. But the thing is, it doesn't come. It just doesn't come. Look at the ratio of bad news to good news that you see. And that'll tell you a lot about their intentions. You know, they want to keep you fearful. They want to keep you outraged. And I'm not saying that there aren't injustices in the world. Obviously, there are. But what I am saying is that there are also a lot of beautiful things happening in the world right now. It's just they don't get the media coverage because it doesn't put people in a state of fear. And so not as many people will watch, and they won't make as much money. Just think about it. How often do you hear good news? How often do you hear something good happening? How much coverage do good things get compared to, disasters? They don't get any coverage because they want you to be fearful. They want you to keep coming back. And truth be told, a lot of these things happening, you're staying informed, but what are you doing with that information? It's like, yeah, okay, something terrible just happened. 1,000 people died in an earthquake. That sucks, that obviously sucks, but what are you going to do with that information? How many people are actually going to join in on the relief efforts? A lot of people just watch the news to stay informed so that they're not missing out. They feel like they're missing out on what's going on in the world. But like I said, you don't know what's actually going on in the world. You know what they're telling you. And you have to understand that they are very biased in the way that they present this information to you. And they don't have the best interest of your state of being in mind when they do this. They want to keep you fearful. And the thing is, it perpetuates itself because then people, the actual consumers, they cast judgment upon each other for not being informed. When in reality, none of them are informed because they don't know. Until you go and travel the world and do your own research by living life and taking it upon yourself to see what's actually going on in the world without the news, just actually going out and looking, you can't say you're truly informed. And like I said, what's the point of being informed if you're not going to do anything with that information? If you're not actually going to help out? At that point, you're just consuming a bunch of negative information and carrying it with you throughout your day. And you'll see that energy start to manifest itself in your reality, in the reality that you're experiencing. And that further perpetuates that perception that life is terrible, that life is not beautiful, and that there aren't a lot of great things going on in the world right now. You have to learn to protect your energy. You have to learn to protect your energy. That's very important to, living a fulfilling, peaceful, happy, abundant life. Take some time to reassess your mental diet. Your mental diet is just as important, if not more important, than your physical diet. Make sure that you're consuming positive information because, like I said, you think that consuming this negative information is keeping you informed when you're only as informed as they want you to be. So how do we change this? Okay, how do we change this? Because what good is me making this video if there's no call to action? At that point, I'm no better than them. I'm just giving you this information, probably putting you in a fearful state about what you've been experiencing and the way you've perceived this media, and I'm not giving you any way to actually solve this problem. Here's my solution. Okay, my solution is we have to start focusing on the positive news. We have to put more focus on the positive news. And if they do give us negative news, if we see these things happening, then we have to actually enact change. If we can't do anything to help, there's no use in focusing on it. That's just what it is. There's no use in focusing on it. We have to take that little bit of light that they give us and expand it. There's a quote by Martin Luther King Jr. It's my favorite quote of all time, actually. And it goes, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." And that's a quote that I live by. People try to focus on the negative and get rid of the negative, but they don't realize that the only way to get rid of the negative is by focusing on the positive. You have to take the light and expand it. Expand the light until the darkness is not there anymore. That's the only way to truly get rid of the darkness. And this goes for social media too. Social media is maybe even worse than the news because it's us, it's us, the people, the consumers, giving each other this information, spreading around this negative news that we don't even know is true. And that's what we have to do. We have to change the way that we go about spreading information. We have to spread more positivity, create good news. We have to create good news. You know, random acts of kindness, doing good deeds. You know, I see people try to do good things and they'll film it. For example, they might give money to a homeless person or something like that, and people will accuse them of clout chasing. But then when somebody spreads negative energy, like they're out here fighting or creating drama, nobody says anything. You know, like people consume that. We have to change our mental diet. We have to start creating and consuming more positive information. And once they see that there's more money to be made there, then they'll start to follow suit. Because like I said, they're just here to make money. But then they'll be making their money and we'll be living in peace and harmony and abundance. And that's not to say that, you know, no bad things will happen at that point. Bad things will always happen. Injustice has always existed and it always will. But in the same light, positivity will always exist. It always has existed and it always will exist. There will always be that yin yang, okay? And it's up to you to decide what you want to focus on.